there, and welcome to this overview video for Orange Tree Sample's Evolution Mandolin. This library runs in both the full and free versions of Contact, and also utilises the NKS format for compatibility with complete control hardware. With Evolution Mandolin, Orange Tree Samples are adding to their growing roster of instruments aimed at bluegrass and folk cues, although the sound of this library has a far greater range than just country music. Over 4,300 individual string samples have been captured in 2 pick directions with multiple round robins and velocity layers in a variety of articulations, including some articulations such as tremolo and misfretted notes, which are typical elements of mandolin performance. More on those later. Regular users of the Evolution engine will be familiar with the onboard strumming engine and modelled effects, enabling you to shape the timbre and performance of the mandolin. So let's take a look, and I'll start by showcasing some of the snapshot presets and then show you how they were put together. Let's start with a basic one that just uses the sustain articulation. You can hear that even with just this one articulation activated, there's a wide range of expression. This is thanks to the multiple dynamics, round robins, and the scripting, which automatically plays hammer-ons, pull-offs, and incidental pick and string effects. The playable range is shown on the blue keys just here, and there's also a range of effects sounds on the yellow keys at the top of the keyboard here. You'll also find a couple of useful re-trigger keys for up and down picking the last played note. These are on the F and F sharp keys just here. You'll find these especially useful for fast bluegrass style playing. Here's another preset. As you can see from the articulation panel here, we're not only playing the sustains with this preset, but also mutes, triggered from velocity range 0 to 24, and palm mutes, triggered from velocities 25 to 60. The sustains take over from velocity 60 and above. So what does this all mean? Well, articulations can be assigned to velocity range, key switch, sustain pedal, or any MIDI controller number. With Evolution Mandolin, an articulation can also be triggered randomly. In the case of this preset, the sustain misfret articulation is set to play 15% of the time instead of a normal sustain. This articulation is great for emulating the small mistakes that a performer might make whilst playing at speed. Of course, this percentage can also be adjusted. Let's hear it at 15%. And now we'll increase it to 50. There's another articulation which is unique to Evolution Mandolin, and this is Tremolo, which can be set to fade in, fade out, or sustain at a constant dynamic. Let's set Tremolo to key switch C2 in this case. As you can hear, this gives a very authentic Mediterranean vibe. With this preset, you can hear the effects from the tone panel in action. It uses reverb, EQ, compressor, and amp and cab simulation to get that gritty, overdriven tone. There are lots of other options here for effects too, including delay, flanger, chorus, wah-wah, tremolo pedal, and distortion. I'll admit you might not always use these for traditional country styles, but they can be useful for mangling the mandolin for sound design effects. Let's demo that with the harmonics articulation. We'll turn on the wah-wah, delay, and sync the delay too. I'll quickly take a look at the strumming engine here, and we'll switch over to automatic chords for this, although you can make the strum engine play custom chords or decide your own fingering with the held notes option. I won't go into the engine in too much detail here as I've covered it several times before in previous Orange Tree Samples videos, but here's a quick taste using a nice swung country preset. There are loads of other patterns in 3/4 and 4/4 time, and you can tailor these to suit you by changing the articulations, strum direction, and the strings that are used. You can also change the note division and swing. In chord mode, you can use the keys I previously mentioned at F and F sharp to trigger chords. The harder you press them, the more strings are played. There's one last thing to show you before I finish up. The setup panel here is where you can change all sorts of characteristics of the playback and sound. This preset uses the automatic double tracking, but you can up this to quadruple tracking with options for stereo width and humanization. In this setup menu there are also options for fine-tuning the pick and noise levels, dynamics, pitch bend, resonance, vibrato, and many other under-the-hood tweaks. I hope that's given you a small taste of Evolution Mandolin. It's a super realistic mandolin library with some very intelligent scripting and fantastic presets. For more information, head to the Orange Tree Samples website, where you can access the manual and listen to demos. Thanks so much for watching.